This is Movers and Shakers, where we interview the upcoming generation of Make It Happen multifamily investors to share their story.
Welcome to the Movers and Shakers podcast. My name is Gino Barbaro, co-founder of Jake and Gino, multifamily investor, educator, father, mentor, and I am joined by my co-host, my brosif, the one and only Josh Rusin, the community director here at Jake and Gino. Mr. Joshua Rusin, how we doing today, bro?
Hey, Gino, doing well. Super excited. We got a lot of big happenings here. Actually, just talking about our upcoming money mixer in July for the Jake and Gino students. And actually, tomorrow morning, hopping on a plane to come spend some time down there in Florida with you. How are you today, Gino?
I'm good. Like the color shirt you got on. We're matching again today. That's a psychic thing going on. We've got a great show today, Josh. Two great investors on.
Yeah, speaking of that, we have Courtney and Julie with us. So they're real estate investors in Nashville, Tennessee. Courtney actually has a background in residential real estate, and Julie graduated with an interior design degree. Together, they have spent the past year flipping houses, house hacking, and purchasing buy and hold properties. They began in the single family space, but quickly realized it would take way too long for them to meet their financial goals. Thus, sprung the need to dive headfirst into the multifamily space. Currently, they own a duplex, 2 triplexes, and are looking to take down a 35-unit property by the end of the year. Welcome, Courtney and Julie.
Thanks, guys.
Ladies, let's talk about your background. How did you get into real estate, first of all, and how was the progression to multifamily? How did that come about?
Yeah, so my family, my dad's a builder, so real estate has kind of always been in my family, and everyone kept telling me to get into real estate, so I finally jumped in and got into residential real estate probably back in 2011. Just did the residential thing for a while and then realized, oh wait, I have a really flexible job, but I have a job that's not going to provide me any kind of passive income until, if I couldn't work for 3 months, what was I going to do?
Mm-hmm.
So I started buying single family properties, and I convinced Julie to quit her full-time job so we could escalate our investments and retire sooner. So
Wow.
Here we are. Yeah.
Julie, how was that process? How did you feel about trying to get upsold to quit your job and jump into something that's totally foreign? I'm sure everyone that knows you is like, what are you, crazy? You're leaving the job to do something? How was that? How was that process? How did that feel?
Well, it wasn't difficult, actually. Not having a 9-to-5 job was awesome. But I was in the industry. I did interior design work for some custom builders. So I was around it a ton. And just quitting a 9-to-5 job seemed awesome, and wanted to dive headfirst into real estate.
So how was that transition? Did you all right, I'm done, this is it? Or I shouldn't have done it, Julie? What was the outcome?
So I turned 30 last June, and I quit my job 2 weeks before we actually took a 3-week trip to Thailand. So quit my job, 3 weeks in Thailand, and came back and hit the ground running.
Wow, that is awesome. I wish I was 30 years old. Yeah, that is great. So, how did you guys come to the realization that multifamily was the thing? Other than the financial freedom, because I'm going to tell you, Courtney, you're going to become financially free again. You're going to retire, and you're going to do what Gino did. Work even more because you like it, right? That's the goal. The goal is not to retire and to quit what you're doing. The goal is to retire and to do more of what you're doing. And real estate's in your blood and you love it. You'll become so creative. You'll find other ways to do it. You'll take on your little pet projects. So, what was the attraction to multifamily, and how did you get started in multifamily?
So I actually bought my first property a year ago, last month.
Mm-hmm.
We closed in the middle of April, and it was just a single family house. It was a for sale by owner, and we bought it. It was $70,000. Put $30,000 into it. I was all in for $100,000, and then I refied out at $145. But I thought, wait a second, I'm only cash flowing $800 a month on this thing. It's gonna take me forever to retire, because we have a retirement goal, and when I say retire, it just is financially free to be able to do and give and live freely.
Mm-hmm.
And so we bought a couple more single family places and just kept seeing the value wasn't there. So bought our first duplex last November, and then have closed on 2 triplexes this year.
So let me ask you, is it easier to do single families or is it easier to do the bigger deals?
I don't know how to honestly answer that, because really anything below 5
Mm-hmm.
is residential, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's very easy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all been easy. It's all runs the same way.
So I'm sorry, my question should have been like, if you're buying one single family home, don't you think it's easier to buy 2 triplexes than to buy one single family home at a time? I mean, is that the goal for you guys?
Sure. Yeah, because you can double your number of doors that much quicker, and the more doors you have, the more income you have coming in, and the more stability you have. So certainly, and it's one less roof and one less water heater and all that stuff to do.
So how did you guys find the triplexes?
They were actually on MLS, and Julie found them, and they were listed a little too high, and so we just shot them a low offer. And then I guess what you call a multifamily space retraded them. Mm-hmm. So we went in, and it was a kind of just a slumlord situation. There was a lot of deferred maintenance, a lot that had to be done, and not just any investor was going to take that on. Luckily, we have a background in construction and rehabbing, and so it wasn't anything that scared us. But the asking price was $153, and we got them down to $110 on one of the triplexes. So It ended up being a really great deal.
Yeah. So, and what's your long-term goal for that? Do you want to refi that out? Do you want to sell it, hold it for cash flow? What is the goal with that?
Well, it's funny because the goal has changed several times as it's gone, because we came to the mixer in Knoxville and saw, wait a second, you can get 100 units, keep in-house management. You've got investors, you've got a non-recourse loan. Let's do that, because right now we're on the hook personally for all of these loans. Mm-hmm. So the goal is to fix it up. We'll refi it out, eventually trade in all of our properties for a portfolio loan, and then throw all of that into a 100-unit complex.
Wow.
One thing that really stands out here. So as Courtney and Julie know better, they continue to do better. So they see there's a better, a quicker, and a different way to do things. And they don't have any fear of scaling up, going bigger, limiting beliefs. And a few examples of that, Julie, quitting your job. Most people would hesitate, deliberate, and really not take action and sit on the fence. You did it. A year ago, you guys bought your first property. Now we're going bigger and bigger. And another thing is, you saw that per transaction, we can have multiple doors. So why not do more doors in one transaction, right? So 2 triplexes, 6 doors, way easier than 6 single family homes. That's 6 separate transactions. So I love that as you know better, you're scaling up and doing better, and then reaching up as well. So, I see where you're at from here. So let's talk about where you want to take this. That's what I want to learn. So right now, I know you mentioned a 35 unit, 100 unit. Why? Why is that the goal? And let's talk a little bit about that.
I'll let you take it.
So our end goal is passive income. And one phrase that I continuously like to say over and over again is that I love making people that I love wealthy, because there are people that are called to great things. Like my brother-in-law is a firefighter. I would love for them to have some passive income coming in and teach my friends and family about how to do this. And so creating a space where they can, we can learn a lot of things and go and find the deal and tell them with certainty, like, hey, here's our plan, and then have them be able to invest a little bit of money, but see the returns. It's a way to give back to the people that we love, as well as give back to ourselves.
I love that. What I want to touch on, Josh, that was really important, is everybody has to understand the paradigm shift that takes place. And when you surround yourself with a like-minded community, when you surround yourself with other investors, what else did you take from that weekend and from the education that you've been going through with Jake and Gino, that like been these big aha moments? Because that's a huge aha moment, saying, wait, I'm just shifting. And what's going on in your life is you guys are growing. And as you grow, you shed your old beliefs, and those limiting beliefs go bye-bye, and you get these new beliefs, right? So it's been a year is nothing in somebody's life, from going from a single family home to thinking about 100 units and knowing that you can do that. So what were those other aha moments that you pulled away from the education?
My biggest one was when we were in Knoxville a couple of weeks ago. I haven't done a ton of the training, so learning about the underwriting, my biggest thing is numbers. I love Excel spreadsheets. I love looking at numbers. So that's what multifamily is digesting the property and seeing if the numbers work. So the past week and a half, I've just been diving deep and trying to find everything I can on LoopNet to just look at and understand, is this a good deal? Is this not a good deal? So it's just been, that was kind of the aha moment of, look away from single family. That is only going to get us so much passive income. Let's look at the bigger picture.
I love that. And what about you, Courtney?
Mine was networking, honestly. You are some of the 5 people you hang out with the most, right? And so hanging out with people like you guys have 1,500 units, is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I mean, that's huge. And knowing and seeing you build such a strong business model on the buy right, finance right, manage right platform, it helped me realize we can do this. And we may not be at the 1,500 unit level, but it's really great to be in a community with people that are shooting towards the same goal. And so we can run the race together. And when I have a question, if I can network well, I can call them up and say, hey, can you help me with this? Or lay eyes on this. What do you think? So I think the aha moment was really just networking for me. And it's all about, I heard the phrase, your network is your net worth.
Mm-hmm.
And when we were in Knoxville, that really proved to be true for me.
So Josh is smiling right now because he likes I think it's a Jim Rohn quote, right? So Josh likes the 5 people. It's so true. And what I love about you two is one of you is the number cruncher and one of you is a networker. So you're the extrovert, and I will say Julie is maybe not the introvert, she's the ambivert, which means like she'll go out and do it when she has to. So it's what's great about partnerships, right? And the other thing that really stands out with your story is you can get into this business in so many different ways. You can be boots on the ground. You can raise money. You can even start a little management company, right? So you're getting multiple streams of revenue coming in. You can have a license and buy and sell these things yourself. So there's so many creative ways that you can get into it. And I think people are stuck in like, I can't do it. But look around. There's a lot of people doing it. And the fact that you're in an environment and in a community that everyone is doing it and closing deals really, really helps out. Mr. Ruzin, I know you've got other questions there. I see you jumping in. And
yeah, success breeds success, right? If you surround yourself with people that are on the same path and journey and create that community, all of a sudden you're not alone, right? You feel that this becomes more normal. And I know for a lot of people, myself included, when I first got into this, my parents were like, that is crazy. Real estate's risky. What are you doing? Save your money. And those were really old ways that were instilled with them and may not be serving them anymore, but they just don't know any different. It's so ingrained in them. And by having the right people around you in that circle that's doing what you're looking to do, and not only that, has the results you want, you can reach up and like you two said, ladies, it becomes achievable. So I really like those keys to success. And I really think you've been sharing some great gold nuggets up to this point so far.
So my next question is, what is your best advice for anybody trying to get into multifamily? Like you're already in the residential space. Some people might have that limiting belief, I can't do it. What would you say to somebody, I want to get into multifamily? What would you tell them to do?
My biggest thing is always education, because I think education is power. And if you feel comfortable with how to run your numbers and you learn the lingo, you're going to be able to feel really confident going and talk to that agent that has that 100-unit complex. Fake it till you make it, man. And if you're going to fake it till you make it, you got to know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. I like that. And Julie, what would you say?
Join a program like Jake and Gino. I think that's been the biggest part of our path, is that we have people to turn to. If it's not you guys, we can ask somebody in the community, and the question is answered literally within an hour. So that's been the easiest, path to success, I think.
So let me see if you guys can dispel some type of limiting beliefs for people, because I think people listening are like, yeah, that sounds great, education, I'm doing that. you know, people are afraid of money. I mean, how are you getting the money for these deals? Are you finding investors? Are you funding it yourself? You know, what are you guys doing for that?
Yeah, we actually, so for the two triplexes, we brought $0 to the deal. We bought them as a package and brought in a money partner, and he fronted the down payment, the closing costs, and everything like that. And then a little unique thing that I do with all of my deals that are residential is I can take my commission and apply it towards the down payment and bringing $40,000 to the table. I upped my commission to 8%, and then I brought $20,000 of my own commission to the table. So little tips and tricks.
Josh,
I like that. So here's a huge takeaway. It's never a lack of resources. It's a lack of resourcefulness, right? If there's a way, as long as you have, you know, that the mindset that you can achieve success and you're not looking to throw in the towel. So I love that. Ladies, what I want to know, I mean, you shared a lot, right? You're at a really great stage in your journey, and I'm really excited to see what's going to come in the next year or so. But how can the listeners get a hold of you?
We are on Instagram and Facebook, and you can find us at Exude Properties. Instagram, Exude Properties, EXUDE.
Awesome, ladies. Well, listen, I really want to thank you for, you know, being great guests on the show and sharing your mover and shaker story. Guys, if you want to be the next movers and shakers guest, email us at josh@jakeandgino.com. Now, if you like the show, what I'd ask is please leave us a review. Now, until next time, let's make it a movers and shakers week. See ya.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.